in 28 minutes, 43.914 seconds, an average speed of 101.19 miles per hour. That's pretty impressive around this beautiful, formerly woodland circuit here that was indeed into the 1960s lined with trees all the way round. Thankfully, it's a bit safer now. We've had a few offs, but no serious injuries, and everybody's ready to go after an exciting afternoon for the second British Superbike race of the day. Tommy Bridewell won the first one. The championship standings look like this. Bridewell has catapulted himself into the top 6 behind Shane Byrne, James Ellison, Josh Brooks and Stuart Easton, ahead of Yuichi Kianari. Just outside that vital red line for the showdown later in the season, Dan Linfoot, Jason O'Halloran, Chris Walker and Howie Mainwaring Smart. Also in the running, Michael Laverty getting to grips with the Tyco BMW. Peter Hickman is out injured. Christian Inn is injured. Billy McConnell and Richard Cooper round out that top 15 ahead of the desperately unlucky Brock Parks, who has to start from way down the grid in race 2. The grid is headed by Josh Brooks, his new lap record. He was the previous lap record holder. He lost it momentarily mid-race to Yuichi Kianari and Tommy Bridewell, and Stuart Easton also lapped quickly. There are all 3 of them on the front row of the grid. Shane Byrne heads up row 2 from Kianari's build-based BMW and James Ellison on the JG Speedfit Kawasaki. Row 3 has O'Halloran's Honda Fireblade alongside Josh Waters after a good strong ride on the Halsall Suzuki and the Kawasaki of Richard Cooper. And row 4, Michael Laverty on the Tyco BMW ahead of Howie Mainwaring Smart Kawasaki and the beautiful B. Weiser Kawasaki of Chris Walker. Behind Walker, worth mentioning on row 3, can he make it 21 in 152? Number 25, Josh Brooks, pole position, R1 Yamaha. Let's hope the lights go out this time. They do. Oh, Brooks. He really snatched it out of the blocks, and that cost him dearly.
He did.
And he's back to about 4th or 5th place as he goes through turn 1.
Yeah, got a big wheelie off the line, had to depress the clutch again more than he wanted to. That has to slow the back down. Not a brilliant start from Josh.
So as they drop downhill, it's Stuart Easton once more who bags the advantage as he did first time out. Well, first time out, he'd already got bagged by Tommy Bridewell going down into Cascades. This time he has the lead from Kianari. What a start. Bridewell, Brooks, Shaky Byrne, James Ellison. Brilliant start by Kianari. Can he sustain the pace this time? O'Halloran is 7th, Laverty 8th, Richard Cooper in 9th. Oh, Laverty
way wide at the hairpin there, Shellall's hairpin.
That's not what he learned from MotoGP, is it?
Absolutely not, but he was so packed on the inside he couldn't actually get back in.
So coming out of Britain's chicane now then, this is the snarling pack in the first lap of 18 at Oulton Park here in British Superbikes, with Kianari at 12 times a race winner here, remember, at Oulton Park during his Honda days, looking to see if he can bet his set a marker up with the build-based BMW. Jakob Smert's way downfield on the Ducati.
Yeah, before the last couple of years, that's all Kianari had was Honda days. Because it was a full-on factory rider, came from Japan as a Honda man and raced over here for years as a Honda man.
So the three-time British champion is looking for a way past Stuart Easton, and he finds a way past early at the conclusion of lap 1 into Lodge Corner. Sweet as you like. The 30-year-old Japanese rider catapults his way to the front. The equally tidy and tiny Stuart Easton right behind him. Tommy Bridewell 3rd, Shaky Byrne fending off Josh Brooks. No. Oh, well, did Shaky catch him there? Brooks was in 4th place as they crossed the line. Shaky's ahead of him now. Here's Bridewell. That's the move he made to get past Easton on the first lap of race 1.
So much confidence Tommy Bridewell's got now to do that. A lot of weight on the front end. Not so easy to do at that point in the track, and he made it look simple.
As they go keeling round Island Bend now into the second gear right-hander at Shell Oil's corner.
And then Shane Byrne straight up the inside into Shell Oil's hairpin, straight under his teammate.
James Ellison has got a stronger start this time and is right behind Josh Brooks. So that front 6 containing the main men in the championship standings. As they power over there, look, 250 miles per hour here across Hilltop, and they have to drop it right back to the second gear chicane here at Hizzies.
Yeah, Brooks doing very much a sort of regrouping job. Not only did he fluff it off the start, he got beaten up in the first couple of corners as well. And it's dead easy to put out your rhythm there. You know, it's dead easy to find somebody on the inside where you want to be, or somebody where, you know, you don't expect him first couple of laps.
Chianari in the lead, but I don't somehow think that BMW is going to get away from that BMW, i.e. the red and white build-based bike, the blue and white Tyco bike. Look at the threat of Tommy Bridewell right behind him.
Yeah.
And Shaky Byrne looking a lot more comfortable this time out, James. And
Tommy Bridewell somehow. Well, he got the inside, he's made it stick, I think. Yeah.
Oh, when he makes sure that he's got space there, just elbows aside Chianari.
And that is, all these passes are generally on bits of track that are not that easy to pass, and you never see, ooh, big front end move for Chianari, that's cost him time. And Bridewell's so confident, the man in front now, number 46 on the red, white and blue bike, he's so confident, he's passing almost where he needs to do or where he wants.
Shaky Byrne, a new lap record so early in the race. How close are we going to get to 1 minute 35 without breaking the barrier?
Yep, 1:35.007. That's about a tenth of a second quicker than Josh Brooks managed, who was quickest in race 1.
So Shaky Byrne there is now the reigning champion.
But the fact is, when in company like this, if he's doing that kind of speed, all the rest are doing almost that speed to within hundredths of a second or so.
So as they drop down the hill, look at that queue of riders. Shaky riding his familiar number 67. Right behind him there, his teammate at PBM Kawasaki, Stuart Easton. And behind them too, Josh Brooks and James Ellison, just straining to keep on that pace that the front four are setting. That quartet have just opened up a slight gap on the third of 18 laps. We know, of course, that Brooks is very much a kind of 18-lap man. He'll be able to stick at a race right the way through. Absolutely, and push right to the last lap. Brooks is really good at that shot. So is Shane Byrne. And to be fair, most of them are. Most of them will go the distance easy enough. Behind James Ellison, we've got Jason O'Halloran's Honda. We've got Howie Mainwaring Smart in 8th place, ahead of Michael Laverty 9th, Richard Cooper having another good ride in 10th. But this is an indication. You see Josh Brooks there in 5th. Man who pushed right at the front, finished just second to Bridewell in race 1. And just a fluffing up the start, and that's it. You know, he's giving himself a real mountain to climb now. Not that he's, he's incapable of doing that. You never know with Josh Brooks. James, what exactly happened with Josh off the start? I mean, is it as simple as a kind of just drop the clutch a bit sharp? Yeah, you know, if you're sat in your car on your bike at some traffic lights and the lights change to green, you just let go of the clutch and take your foot off it quick, the thing's going to try and jerk forward. And that's exactly what happened. It didn't stall, and it lifted the front wheel. If the front wheel's lifting, you've got to dip the clutch or hit the brake and close the throttle off to get it down. And in that case, you're losing time. So Josh Brooks then drops downhill. He's in 5th place. The flying quartet at the front, headed by Bridewell. Down! Bridewell loses the front! Oh, there he was, headed for a potential double victory. He loses the front, going through his chicane. As simple as that. When you're riding at lap record-breaking pace, you're so near the edge. And Tommy Bridewell has just illustrated that with the Tyco BMW. So, well, he won't be smiling this time, having finally cracked a smile after that tenacious first race win. This is what happened, James. Yep, turns it, and then there's a couple of little bumps there, but he didn't seem to do much wrong to me there. You're not on the brakes, he'd got it turned, didn't run him from some too deep. Yep, unlucky, but it can happen, like you said, lap record pace. So that is what our first drama of the race then means that Yuichi Chianari leads the way. Ahead of Shane Byrne and Stuart Easton. Josh Brooks in 4th place. And Josh Brooks trying to get back on. Let's have a look at Josh Brooks. This was the start, James. Yeah, you got to see that. The bike lifted, he dipped the clutch again, and that was just him being a little bit too eager. I have to say, some bikes, depending on what clutch you've got on, you're trying to slip the clutch, so the plates are rubbing together. Sometimes when they get hot very quickly, and then they grip, and they grab at the bike, and that looked maybe... He was just a bit eager, the clutch grab, and that he spoiled his start. Mind you, he's back with him now. He certainly is. And his teammate, James, you talk about misfortune. We saw what happened to Brock Parks in the first race. In warm-up this morning, he's hardly had any dry time on this track. And in warm-up this morning, his clutch packed in after 2 laps. So, they've obviously had a little of a clutch day here at Milwaukee Yamaha in one way or another. The 5th lap of 18, already high drama here at Oulton Park under slightly threatening clouds after a very sunny start as Michael Rutter brings the Gearlink Kawasaki in for Was that a ride-through or a visit to the pits?
I think pits, they pitted right at the very bottom, so I think he was going into his pit.
So this is, as they come through Deer Leap now to complete this 5th lap, and we now have, well, we have 5 riders together, James. This is it. These are the guys who are fighting. Here's Ellison up the inside of Brooks.
And you know, this is what gets me about bike racing compared to most of the forms of racing. It just takes...
Brooks on the grass. Dear, that's cost him time.
Yep, and that's about 145 miles an hour, Jack. It's been raining for most of the early part of this weekend, and there's no grip on that grass. That is slippy stuff.
Well, it's a good job Josh does plenty of mucking about off-road, isn't he?
No, he's not mucking about, he does. He is deadly serious about his off-road. In fact, lives with the croc star, Gordon Crockart.
Actually, Gordon's here, watching him, the 3-time British motocross champion, former Grand Prix winner, and he's now living in London.
Building sets in there. Oh, here we go. Yeah, he was beat. That was Josh Brooks being a little bit tough and trying to get back round the outside of Ellison and coming off second best really and having to take to the grass.
Amy bravely smiling at the antics of her fella. Gordon Crockart has got a 10-month contract with Warner Brothers building film sets, so he's living in North London near Warner Brothers Studios, while Josh continues to live in the Crockart house in Northern Ireland.
That's got the motocross track in the back.
Yes, in Newton Arms.
Yeah, no nicer man than Gordon Crockart, a real gentleman.
So as they now lick it down to complete the 6th lap of 18 and make it 1/3 race distance nailed on, Yuichi Kiyanari still leads from the front. Now, Kiyo looked strong for the first third to a half of race 1, and then using the 0 tyre for the first time, kind of fell away in the second half of the race. But it looks to me at the moment, well, certainly at this stage, he's looking strong.
Yep, very strong. Like you say, did fall off the pace. The track temperature is, I actually don't know whether it's cooler, definitely cooler air temperature outside, a little bit more cloud about. I would say around about the same track temperature as what we saw in race 1. Maybe a bit cooler.
Not one lap. Behind this group, incidentally, O'Halloran, Mainwaring Smart, Laverty in 8th, Cooper in 9th, McConnell into the top 10 ahead of Walker, Lee Jackson having a good ride in 12th place.
And do you know what we're saying about Ellison? It's an amazing sport when you can take just one good result and it'll give you the confidence to run just higher and better and faster than what you was just 2 hours previously.
This is the battle going on for points. Jays, look at this. Chris Walker, number 9. Look at the names here. Lee Jackson, Josh Waters, Luke Mossey, James Westmoreland, Christian Itten gallantly with that broken leg, trying to cling in on the points, but he's actually in 16th, just off the back of James Westmoreland. Back at the front, this quartet, they'll take a bit of watching because any slight error here is going to hand the advantage to the other 3. Kiyanari, look at that, rocketing round the corner, touching 150 miles an hour before backing off for the 3rd gear right hand with Old Hall.
Fastest man of the top 5 that last lap was Josh Brooks in 5th. He's not giving up, the fella.
Are you sure?
I am absolutely sure. Not fastest lap of the race, but fastest lap of the top 5. He's definitely captured him.
This is what we love about Joshua Brooks. Just look at him, head down. Do you know what I like him? He's back on the number 25 that we first got familiar with when he entered World Supersport and won as a wild card in Australia. His number 25 was his traditional racing number, and he has reclaimed it for 2015. Look at the way he cuts the curve.
Do you know what? If it was a dog, it'd be a Jack Russell that thinks he's a Rottweiler that keeps ripping your trousers every time you go around your uncle's house.
And he's Josh Brooks then from Bringelly on the western suburbs of Sydney. Number 25 drops downhill, and in between him and the leader Yuichi Kiyanari,
he's with him.
Got a trio of Brits.
Brooks is with him.
Yes. So the Kiyanari in the front. 2nd place for Shaky Byrne from Kent, 3rd place for Stuart Eastwood from Hoyk in Scotland, 4th place for the Cumbrian James Ellison from Kendal, and right behind them is Sydney's very own sparkling Josh Brooks. These are the quintet that are running away at the front at the moment.
There's a couple of places around. That's the man on the left of the dropout there. That's Sean Muir, and the man on the left was Chunky. He used to work for Rob Mack. Now he works in Germany, where they develop the R1 centrally and then pass out all the information to the various national teams.
I love the way that a man with a name like Chunky can become an indelible part of the hub of the British, the international racing community.
I must point out that's a nickname, Jack. He wasn't christened Chunky.
But what was his? Do you know his real name?
Actually, no.
Exactly. This is what I mean about nicknames in the motorcycle world. We rarely know the real names, do we? Oh, Shaky, look, attempting to line up Kianari.
Meanwhile, Easton's lining him up.
And Easton, well, you know that how... Oh, and there is Shaky as smooth as you like.
Has he gone wide? No, he hasn't.
And he's obviously the new lap record holder. Look at Ellison almost getting around the outside of little Stuart Easton there. So Ellison also making strong moves, but that could be. Does this mean Shaky can get away? He's on the 9th lap of 18, so right on half distance, he's taken the lead. Breaking into Hizzy's chicane.
One of the things you get around here when you've got a big pack like this is you'll see the riders move to one side occasionally, just because there's lots of it where you need to be using every bit of the road and you can't see. You know, if you're just blindly following somebody. There's Stuart Hicken, not having the best time health-wise.
It's not. It's Stuart. We wish you absolutely all the best. This paddock would not be the same without him.
He's a tough man, let me tell you.
Now, as they storm out of Druid's corner now and head down, Kianari is looking very, very strong on the brakes here. And he does indeed drop in the side. Shane Byrne through Lodge corner. Brilliant move by the Japanese. And that puts him back at the front. Kianari leads it. Second for Byrne. Third for his teammate Stuart Easton. And watching all the shenanigans from 4th and 5th places, James Ellison.
Well, you know what? If it all goes wrong, he has to write the cheque out for the spares, that's why.
And you can see Shaky lining things up again. He's fast through Island Bend, and what he did to Keogh on the last lap was just come around the outside of him here and drop right in. But this time, Keogh has a more defensive line, knows what's coming, keeps it tight through shell oils.
Really nice bank taping. We heard James Hayden say exactly the same. If you've ridden this place, you know just how banked and nice it is going into that shell oils hairpin. Such banking on the inside, such camber helping you. One of those you can just let the brakes on and kind of turn in and let the camber do the rest.
We're on the 10th lap of 18. James, you'll notice that... look at them. I'm just staggered at the names who are struggling to get into the top 20 here. It's quite remarkable. Some of the names, there's some good youngsters in the points, James. 12th place for Lee Jackson on the second build race BMW. 13th place for Luke Mossey as well on the Quattro Club 10K Kawasaki.
Pretty much as good as we've seen from both of those young riders this year.
There's Howie Mainwaring Smart. And Howie Mainwaring Smart has got the better there of Michael Laverty. So Mainwaring Smart, nervous or not on his home track, running in 6th place.
That's a good run.
And they're both ahead now of Jason O'Halloran, who's got Richard Cooper pestering him as well. So O'Halloran on the red Honda coming under some real embattlement there. Down the avenue into Cascades. James mentioned that it's almost impossible to believe that they're touching 150 down Cascades. Then they're up to 160 along Lakeside here. This is the fastest point on the track. Yeah,
down the avenue, down at Cascades, you're certainly going too quick to be heading for the grass, I'll tell you. Yeah. As we saw John Brooks doing a lap or two ago.
I'd like him to get onto the rostrum so that Matt can ask him about that at the end of the race.
Hey,
on the 11th lap of 18, approaching 2/3 distance.
You would not bet against Josh Brooks even winning this. I mean, it's going to be hard work, but we know what he's like.
And there is the gap, look, between that quintet and then this is the rest of the speed-happy mob. And all around, big change again. Michael Laverty and Jason O'Halloran back in front of Howie Mainwaring Smart, who's got Richard Cooper, number 47, for company. So that's BMW, Honda and 2 Kawasaki's. There's O'Halloran, number 22. O'Halloran, of course, a lot of experience in super stock and super sport. Long wanted to have a go at the superbike race, at superbike racing, and he finally got the chance from Honda this season.
He's ridden superbikes back in Australia.
That's true.
Albeit slightly different rules, more like super stock than ours.
And oddly enough, as they're both on the same track, he deputised. He finished 12th ahead of Brock Parks when he had a wild card appearance in World Supersport. As we watched, look at that! What a move there by Stuart Easton, as neat as you like.
Yeah, well, everything about Stuart Easton's riding is neat. That's the key word to it. And round here, well, I can't say it's better, but certainly it's less physically demanding if you can ride that way, and most people can't.
And as they go streaking past Lakeside now, then it's Kianari, Easton, Byrne, Ellison, Brooks. That quintet have really opened up a gap on that other battle that's going on, that's headed now by Michael Laverty, heading potentially for his, certainly his best race result of the season on bike 7.
Has somebody pointed out the bonus system to Easton? What's happened? There's his team manager, Paul Bird.
And do you think, if there's a bonus system, he'll be counting the pennies?
Big mates of Paul Bird and Stuart Easton. When Stuart Easton was injured and couldn't ride and couldn't earn, therefore, Paul Bird kept him on the book, kept paying him wage. Really, really sort of benevolent thing to do. They're good mates of them pair.
Josh Brooks, you could see the body language of the Australian there, just straining at the leash to keep the Yamaha just on the tail of this gang of riders ahead of him, which comprises 3 Kawasaki's and that red and white BMW at the front. Kianari riding a masterful race at the moment on number 23, but now he's got a different man looking for a way through. Easton, well, he pulled the pass on into turn 1 on Shaky Byrne on the previous lap. Will he be looking to do the same as they complete the 12th lap here? 2/3 race distance. Stuart Easton thinking about it, but not quite close enough.
Yep.
Easton 2/10 quicker on that lap.
BM versus 3 Kawasaki's versus a Yamaha, all the same configuration, straight across the frame, 4 cylinders of 1 litre capacity.
Yuichi Kianari, 3 times champion. The last time he was British Superbike champion was 2010, before things kind of just seemed to kind of fall away from him, and the will to really race seemed to depart. But we know how quick he is when he's on absolutely his best behaviour and form.
Yeah, no doubt in Yuichi Kianari's, that's the man at the front, number 23 on the BMW. No doubt in his talent at all, and his speed, always had it. You never lose that. But in his case, he lost the, I don't know what he lost, you call it a mojo, I guess. He just didn't seem to be able to recapture what taken him to all those British Championships.
This is Keogh's 202nd British Superbike race. James's had 50 race wins. So, you know, a man who's got a 1 in 4 hit rate in Superbike racing, that's a pretty impressive record.
I had that with the ladies when I was in my teens.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, about 1 in 8, I would say.
Do you know, after hearing some of your stories off air, I'd seriously doubt that figure. However, as we break now into Lodge Corner, it's still Kianari keeping the PBM Kawasaki's at bay. And once again, that slight gap opening up on the 4th and 5th men. Yep,
and I think that is going to be a gap. That's been so steadily opened up. Nobody's made a mistake. That's just through the fact that the front 3 are going just slightly quicker now.
On the 14th lap of 18, and the pace is beginning to
just
wind up.
His teammate out of the way there. That was quite brutal, actually, Shane Byrne on his teammate Stuart Easton.
So dropping downhill there towards Cascades, that saw off Stuart Easton, and for the moment Stuart is back in 3rd place. Kianari's at the front, but Byrne is building up now to launch another assault on the build-based BMW. And this is James Ellison just ahead of Josh Brooks. The 32-year-old from just outside Tokyo, Saitama in North Tokyo then. Yuichi Kianari leads the way, bike number 23. Right behind him, the reigning champion. Look how neat Easton is on the brakes.
I think Easton was a little bit miffed about that move down the avenue into Cascades by his teammate, actually.
Did he get him on the right or the left?
He kind of got a good drive out of Oulton and kind of did him between the corners and forced him a little bit offline going in.
And this is checking back downfield. Robin Harms is in the midst of that. Look, there's Jakob Smerts on the Ducati leading it. Number 2, Brock Parks. There's Brock Parks just behind Ian Hutchinson. And these guys are fighting to get in the top 20. There's Taylor McKenzie, number 11, making a move on number... Is that number 20? Oh, it's number...
26 there.
Can't see who it is. Oh, that's Victor Cox, 28. I beg his pardon. It's Victor Cox on the Morello Racing Kawasaki, a former front runner in the Superstock 1000 Championship. Robin Arms for Motor Dex is right behind them. And all those guys are battling to get into the top 20. Never mind the points.
Meanwhile it's warming up.
15th lap.
Here we go.
18.
This is this move.
Oh, big moment for Chianari, that cost him dearly. It just took away the drive he needed to reach Shell Oils ahead of Shaky Byrne.
And we're going to see how much fight Yuichi Chianari's got left now, because certainly that showed that Shane Byrne has got plenty left. And it looks like a tyre as well he's got left to do it. Well, here we go.
Chianari trying to get alongside him. Shaky Byrne just dropping a precautionary leg. This is Shaky Byrne's 277th race. He, of course, has got 62 race wins to his name in British Superbikes as he storms up Clay Hill and on a PBM Kawasaki. And this, what's all these guys are just so level on pace, James. Look at the way that Ellis and the Brooks have kind of clawed their way back towards the front three again.
Something, it depends on a lot of things who's going to win this, who's got most fighting and where people are better. Oh, he's up the inside. Can he get it stopped? Because he missed his braking a little bit there. He couldn't. He was just put offline a little bit. He was moving to one side to have a go at Shane Byrne, and then Shane Byrne kind of jinked across at him, and that just put Yuichi Chianari off exactly where he needed to brake, and I knew he was going to go in there a bit deep.
3 laps to go, and did you notice how you sounded like a Strictly Come Dancing judge then, Easton. And here we go as they drop down through Cascade. Shaky Chianari, who's looking every bit determined to get through.
Ellison's back on it as well. He'd gone 2 laps ago.
Ellison and Brooks have somehow clawed their way back towards it. Ellison particularly now has a sniff of a rostrum here, and that of course means a podium credit, so he won't be if he wanted to try and get a booking on one of them. So Byrne leads it from Chianari. We're on the 3rd lap from the end at the moment. 15 laps complete. Cooper in 9th, McConnell 10th, Walker 11th, Lee Jackson having a strong ride in 12th place ahead of Westmoreland, Mossy. Josh Waters currently the last point scorer. Chianari's taken the boat down. He just lost the back end, dropping down into his chicane. And Keogh goes down, and down goes Shaky Byrne as well. That was a real racing incident.
Chianari was absolutely, completely committed to that, and couldn't do. Once he committed to trying to outbrake in Shane Byrne, he could do nothing. You cannot stop your bike quicker than you are doing, and he couldn't get out from behind him to go straight down the look. He's going up the inside at this point. Look, the back's in there. He can't slow it down. He knows it's going wrong at that point. Tries to get across the back of Shane. Cannot do it. Yeah.
I think Shaky's all right, but let's hope that Chianari is.
Chianari looked to go down fairly heavy on his shoulder. Yeah. Now, most collarbones are broken by you putting your hand down. Yeah, but you see it folded under.
Okay.
That's a good thing. Most collarbones are broken by the fact that you put your hand out. It's an indirect break.
But he's worried.
Yes, I think he is. Yeah.
Remember, he broke his collarbone at Brands Hatch in practice, and that denied us.
He's all right. He's a brave man if he's ripping his levers off like that with a broken collarbone. And they'll be all sweaty. They kind of stick, you know.
Well, look at this now. We've got Stuart Easton, James Ellison, and Josh Brooks in a 3-way battle for supremacy.
You just know what them guys are thinking would happen in front. Clear the way. Just clear the way we're coming through. In a way, you don't want to see anybody getting hurt, but when that happens in front of you and they slide off the track and clear like they did, you kind of like that. You know, it's just part of racing. You think, well, don't have to try and pass them now.
You said, did Chianari have what it takes to try to fight back? He certainly was. On the penultimate lap and a half to go then. And we've got Stuart Easton. The Scotsman leads the Cumbrian Ellison, 3rd place for Australian Josh Brooks as they nail it up Clay Hill. This is the battle for the race win, the 2nd race of the day at Oulton Park.
Yep. That was boiling up, you know. You could see that Shane Byrne was determined there. The bikes were starting to move around a little bit. Yuichi Chianari had a little bit of a look a couple of times, and you could tell he wanted to get back to the front.
Well, he's won a race here before at Oulton Park in Superbikes as well as a couple in Supersport. Stuart Easton, can he do it again? We're on the final lap here of the MC Insurance British Superbike Championship. 2nd race of the day at Oulton Park.
This could be Ellison's this, or Easton's, or indeed Brooks.
Brooks has struggled just to get the drive out of the turns, but these two Kawasaki's will be pretty evenly matched. But look how smartly Easton gets out of the turns, James.
Yeah, it just seems to be to keep the bike smooth, and that when you go on a big roller like you do into Ireland, it just helps you be a bit more settled going in and carry that little bit more speed, it looks to me.
So the flyweight Scotsman leads the way. Is he going to land his first victory of the season here for the PBM Kawasaki team? Ellison already 3 times a race winner, remember, despite having a somewhat lacklustre first race here at Oulton Park.
Well, time's running out for the other two now. Easton, that was one opportunity, I won't say missed, but not taken. Now up Clay Hill into Druids, you're not going to get past there. There's just Lodge left, and that's it.
And Stuart Easton, look at the speed with which he got up Clay Hill. Now these two guys behind him have to get fast out of Druids.
Yep, they do, and they're going to set something up for Lodge, the last proper corner of the track. Easton, for his part's going to pull across, defend a little bit like he's doing. That's it. Make him do the work.
Perfect.
Make him work out.
He's done that perfectly. James is looking round the outside. Ellison goes round the outside, grabs the inside line of the Stuart Easton moves back across. Easton grabs the race victory. And I think Ellison got second place just from Brooks. And that was the top 3 across the line. Michael Laverty will bring Tyco BMW home in 3rd place. But what a terrific, and from looking dismayed one moment, Paul Bird celebrates a race win the next. Laverty just beats O'Halloran across the line for 4th. Howie Mary Smart, I think, comes across the line next. He does, ahead of Richard Cooper. Billy McConnell 8th, 9th Walker, 10th Jackson, 11th Westmoreland, 12th Waters, Mossy, Jessup. And that is Yuichi Kiyanari looking deeply, deeply put out with himself, as long as he's okay.
He went down fairly heavy, I have to say. On his shoulder, right on his shoulder. And then, I'll be honest with you, it looked more to me like a dislocated shoulder kind of knock than it did. Look, watch that going over the top. Watch his left shoulder. Ooh, you know, but he's got a big back protection there and a hump on the back of the leathers, all kind of energy absorbing. So maybe might got away with that.
Well, you've got to say one man who's that good news for is Dan Linford, who is just behind Kiyanari in the championship standings and should be back on track at Snetterton in 5 weeks' time. Easton,
what a good run for him. Brilliant.
2nd place for James Ellison. Oh, and look at that. Oh, how lovely.
Do you know, the thing is, he's so popular as Easton in the paddock that nobody would begrudge him that. They wouldn't. And certainly not his teammate. He's dead pleased for him, look. And that's having been brought off by, you know, through no fault of his. They're all pleased for him. And
that's what we call sportsmanship, ladies and gentlemen, and it's never more exhibited than it is in British Superbike, or indeed in motorcycle racing. And so Stuart Easton gives Shaky a lift back home. And
for Kiyanari's part, you don't mean to knock the other guy off. You know, this is a dangerous sport, and you do everything you can for each other to make it as safe as it can be. And he didn't mean to do that. He's passion and his heat of the moment stuff, and he had a go, and we all want. That's what we want to get stuck in. But you know, sometimes this sort of things, it just happens sometimes.
A dejected Kiyanari then, not the result that Build Base were looking for. Stuart Easton, PBM Kawasaki, is back on top of the box here at Oulton Park. James Ellison, JG Speedfit Kawasaki. Rest of the point scorers, James Westmoreland getting a move on the 2nd of the JG Speedfit Kawasaki's. Josh Waters, Bennett Suzuki, Ellison on 109 points. I'd forgotten would take the lead in the championship. 8, Dan Linfoot still in the picture. He'll make his return at Snetterton.